I'll take a mulligan on that one. Okay, we're going to talk about India, China, Russia, oil, Ukraine, US, and what's going on. Now, I'm going to give you the numbers, and then we're going to analyze this. But again, I'll take a mulligan on this. My name is Mark Bernard. I'm a monetary economist. Now, India, they import about $40 billion worth of oil from Russia. China, about $60 billion. The differential between the market price and the discounted Russian oil gives each of them about, let's say, a $12 or to $11 billion advantage, pure cut advantage in the market. That's accelerating. So let's bump it up, okay, back at the envelope calculations to $15 billion advantage. Now, when they're weighing this geopolitical alliance that they have clearly with Moscow, what they're doing is they're weighing it against the import restrictions to the United States. The U.S. just hit India with a 25% additional tariff, bringing the total tariffs up to 50%. Okay, 50% is a lot. And the U.S. is the biggest component of the Indian economy for exports, which hovers 17.9, we'll say 18%. That's a pretty big amount of dollars. Now, for the U.S., it's only about 5% of the trade. And the Indians have a 21-day negotiation time. And we know that will be all pedaled back by Washington. Okay, that's just the signature. By the way, I have my eyes closed because the sun is so bright. China, on the other hand, the amount of trade we do with China, we import $438 billion and we export about $132 billion to China. So that's the bigger fish. India is really, kind of an odd lot. Although they're taking almost as much oil from Russia as China, we're going to carve China out for a side because India is the focus right now. India clearly, in my mind, is very pro-Russian. Every Indian person I speak to, and again, individuals are individuals and not a representation of the whole, but they generally are pro-Russian. They don't mind taking the oil. They have not said, in my opinion, pleasant things about Ukraine and that Russia should stop the war. This comes from the history that Russia supplies India with weapons and defense and relations and always votes for them as a contrary to Pakistan. Now, the U.S. plays India against China in a sense that that's kind of a buffer. So it's a quasi-ally, a friend of my friend or an enemy of my enemy is my friend type of thing. So India, most of its advantages is people. And, we receive so many Indian workers in the United States. But also the oil and the exports and the tariffs are factored into that equation. So Modi, who's very pro-Russian, no matter how you slice it, Putin and Modi kind of reaffirmed their friendship. And now he's going to meet the Chinese premier, Modi, and this is going to be historic. They're going to see how tight this Russian-Chinese-Indian alliance is and if it's all going to gel. In the meanwhile, we send over, I'll take a mulligan on that one, a golfer. A Palm Beach golfer, Witkoff, as like I said, he's thinking about, at the country club, should he have au jus sauce with his steak fries? Maybe he'll give it a twist of sweet potato steak fries. And he's going up against this cloak and dagger Kremlin crowd, experienced for like a quarter of a century in cloak and dagger geopolitics. He doesn't stand a chance. We know it. He's going to probably speak milk and honey into the ears of the president of the United States. The president will probably lighten some of this, threats that he's making. But the thing is, we did say that we're going to put 25% additional on India, and that's going to hurt their economy. And on a cost-benefit analysis, it's probably going to hurt them more than it's going to benefit the Russian oil, because the Indians are taking the Russian oil and selling it on the market. It's not like they absolutely are desperate for it 100%. Oh, the poor Indians. They're making a huge profit by arbitrage. So what does this all mean? I'll take a mulligan on that one. I keep on referring that. That's a golf term, which means, that was just a practice shot. And that seems to be the modus operandi of Washington. Everything's a mulligan. We didn't really mean it. It was a practice shot. I used to be a caddy, actually, when I was a kid at Avon Country Club. And believe it or not, I was a PGA caddy once. But that's in another life. Okay, I did it once. That is pretty impressive. But I understand the idea of these practice shots, these mulligans, clubhouse rules, real estate agents. I'm a real estate agent, shaking hands with other real estate agents. That pales in the draconian Machiavellian tactics compared to what Moscow does. And they have a way of working the subconscious minds of individuals that meet with them and the global collective unconsciousness as a whole. So I would expect that the White House will first, threats mean nothing to Moscow. It's action. We'll take a mulligan. They'll maybe threaten, 50% tariff on India, and they're not going to touch China as too big of a trading partner. And then they'll backpedal. It's all going to be about, it's a practice shot. It's not really. And 21 days will be in September. It's a lifetime from now. And, that gives Putin and the Kremlin a lot of leeway to do whatever he wants in Ukraine. If he was serious, the White House, and if it was me, I would just say, put in 1,000, put in 500, put in 100 air defense systems, because this is force. This is the negotiation that the Kremlin understands. He doesn't understand mulligans and threats and tariffs that go back and forth, because let me just explain to you. Greenland, Canada, Panama, whatever happened to that rhetoric? Okay, 25%. It was like 140 on China. Now what is it, like 10%? And Russia still has 0% tariffs. So the bottom line, my conclusion, my claim in this analysis is I'm very skeptical. I'm an academic, and I'm going to wait to see what happens. And I think what's going to happen is we're going to see mulligans, backpedaling. And is it all for stalling and letting Russia do whatever they want? Could be. I don't know. I don't have the inside evidence, but just looking from the outside, I think, the golfers versus the draconian cloak and dagger of the Kremlin, I think I know who's going to win that geopolitical dance. And in the meantime, Ukraine's got to stay strong, and it's going to stay strong while the Russian economy continues to crumble. And that is really the ace in the hole. My name is Mark Bernard. I'm a monetary economist. Have a great day. Thank you very much.